A lot of people think that when you make cars autonomous, that they'll be able to go faster and that will alleviate congestion. And to some degree that will be true. But once you have shared autonomy where it's much cheaper to go by car and you can go point to point, the affordability of going in a car will be better than that of a bus. Like it will cost less than a bus ticket. So the amount of driving that will occur will be much greater with shared autonomy, and actually traffic will get far worse.
Elon Musk is the personification of how things should be done. Future is his highest focus, and that's what motivates him to achieve those ideas of his. His personality type is INTJ. Whenever you look at his interviews and speeches, you'll always find him speaking about the future in a linear manner, and that wouldn't be the case with NE. People suspect that he's an INTP, but the issue with that is that we rarely see NE. The INTJ's NI strength is problem solving. It projects situations, sees potential problems, and eliminates pathways. In comparison with NI, the INTP's NE strength is creative innovation. It explores possibilities and ideas. It explores different methods to do things. Here's a good example of his dominant NI.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice. These are not things that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. The output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. A much harder challenge is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
And another example of him using NI.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. Far. Narrow AI is not a species level risk. It will result in dislocation, lost jobs, but it is not a fundamental species level risk, whereas digital superintelligence is. If humanity collectively decides that creating digital superintelligence is the right move, then we should do so very, very carefully. This is the most important thing that we could possibly do.
NI dominants tend to be kind of stuttery when they talk sometimes, and when Elon relies on his TE to explain his NI thoughts, he ends up with very loose, plain speech. He struggles with this a lot. His NI is pretty distant from SE when it comes to preference, and that's why he loses the connection with reality while perceiving things. NI is much more of an inner world thing. NI DOMs look as if they've gone into a world of their own whenever they perceive something new while talking. They are very out of touch with reality and can be disorganized with a lot of their real-life projects. People also guess him to be an INTP because we tend to see the archetype of the INTJ as the mastermind planner, but really they are just as absent-minded as any other intuitive. Elon's method of problem-solving that he says can be applied to any situation by anyone is basically boiling problems down to their most fundamental truths. This suggests the use of TE, not TI. TE means efficiency. One good approach can solve any problem, whereas TI means authenticity in methods and wants to provide a tailored solution to each problem. He demonstrates a lot of NITE by approaching the future of humanity through objective measurements, effectiveness, and efficiency. Take a look at a sequence from an interview where he talks about NITE problem solving, beginning with the desired end result in mind, and finding a way to get there through reverse engineering.
What will often happen in trying to design a product is people will start with the tools and parts and methods that they are familiar with and try to create a product using their existing tools and methods. The other way to think about it is try to imagine the platonic ideal of the perfect product. What is the perfect arrangement of atoms that would be the best possible product? And now let us try to figure out how to get the atoms in that shape. Yeah, I think it's important to have a future that is inspiring and appealing. I mean, I just think that there have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and you want to live. Like, why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? And if we're not out there, if the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that it's incredibly depressing if that's not the future that we're going to have.
His FI value system shines through when he talks about his assets and the misleading tax avoidance claims. He states he doesn't have any offshore bank accounts and that he's willing to sink or swim with the company. He feels that that's the right thing to do. If he had any amount of FE, then he would most likely be swayed by the moral pressure and give in to all of it, as opposed to standing up for himself like he did. He craves freedom from what already exists and is communally agreed upon. He wants to achieve results that are considered innovative and out of the box, rather than attempting to rehash, even if brilliantly, old ideas, facts, and existing knowledge, which would be the case for INTPs.
Companies should only exist to provide great products and services. If there's a very compelling product or service, then that's the thing that is important, not the company. A company is just an assemblage of people to create a compelling product or service. And if a company does not provide great products and services, it should not exist.
Elon has a firm grasp on his goals. He sees the end result and wants the goal to affect the outside environment. His methods of reaching his goals are aligned with TE values. He uses efficiency, follows a straight line of reasoning, learns systematically from his mistakes, and seems more concerned with applying logic. INTPs can also apply what they've learned to reach the goals that they have in their lives. But Elon seems to be someone who is more concerned with what will be, or certainty, rather than branching out his ideas to other theoretical possibilities. Everything Elon does is related to some vision for the future of mankind. He doesn't give a damn about the pure logic or abstract logic and random ideas. All of his projects are focused on solving practical problems. Cars, batteries, rockets. He also has long-term goals, or legacy plans, rather than random impulsive rabbit hole interests an INTP would have. Watch how one of his SpaceX engineers describes him.
It's really important to him to have the legacy of drastically impacting the way all of us live our lives, so kind of the way Steve Jobs did or others that really move the ball downfield for humanity.
No, he doesn't have a portfolio of random projects. Actually, all of his projects, as he says, unite into a greater single vision towards something that must be solved to ensure humanity's survival. And that's his fundamental life's purpose: build a self-sustaining city on Mars that would ensure humanity's survival in case of a catastrophe on Earth. He was inspired by sci-fi and is using ideas he gathered in his childhood to guide him in his vision. His tertiary FI comes out all the time. Elon Musk is a great example of INTJ, and is probably the living proof of what an INTJ at its peak looks like. He has lots of ideas and is trying to talk through them in his speech while maintaining a lively persona in public. He doesn't spend as much time talking about the principles of science when he describes his vision of the future. Almost everything he does is oriented towards the future. So why not an INTP? INTPs usually focus on organizing their thoughts and prefer to think with logical consistency. They use only NE for objective possibilities and are not interested in subjective intuition or meaning. Here's a little example that sets apart the INTJ's NI and the INTP's TI. Think of a mysterious figure in a veil. NI would be more into speculating what lies beyond and view it as a whole. TI would separate everything and would begin analyzing the veil itself as well as the figure. Elon is more like the kind to speculate the mysterious aspects because that's what his main focus has been. Artificial intelligence possibly wiping out humanity, universal basic income, Mars, and so on. You don't really see Elon get into the technical details of cars and how they work. He just focuses on the end result. If that end result supports his NI, then it's fine.
How cool is that? Elon, how on earth has one person been able to innovate in this way? What is it about you?
I don't know, actually.
My theory is that you have an ability to think at a system level of design that pull together design, technology, and business into one package, synthesize it in a way that very few people can, and this is the critical thing, feel so damn confident in that click-together package that you take crazy risks. You bet your fortune on it, and you seem to have done that multiple times.
His public persona is INTP because he knows it is far more likable than his true persona, which is an INTJ. A really smart, calculating INTJ definitely would do that to be more loved by the public. Employees have come forth saying that what he does is entirely dominated by the media opinion, and the moment an issue isn't covered anymore, he won't even address it. Don't confuse a fabricated later life persona with the actual personality. His entire life has been dedicated to financial streamlining and jumping on promising opportunities he sees at the moment. He has never been inquisitive for the sake of it. There is always a profit motive. It is understandable why people try to type him as INTP. Sometimes it might be tricky to determine between NI over TE and TI over NE. But his "I'm spontaneous and all over the place" thing is clearly a front to seem more relatable and cool to the majority of people, especially the younger ones. He is incredibly calculated, clearly very certain about what he'll do and always wanting things to be the exact way that he imagined them. But his plans can backfire and cause him to be closed-minded in some situations. What about his feeling function? Tertiary FI or inferior FE? Being INTP would make him an FE user, but Elon is completely FE blind, and it's not hard to see. It's not that he struggles with FE, he just doesn't have it in any way, shape, or form, and that could be one of the reasons why he appears villainous to some. Tertiary FI makes much more sense. You can tell it's not his strongest function. He tends to tear up during interviews and makes decisions based on his personal values and what he thinks would be ideal. Another thing, where do people typing him as INTP see tertiary SI? His attitude towards problems is essentially, the reasons for doing something are more important than experience. He basically objectifies his own body as a thing to be used by his mind, like, why go home if you can sleep in your factory? He has the same mindset towards his workers, unfortunately. He's a workaholic in the most TE sense of it, and he denies his physical necessities, not out of laziness, but because he wants to maximize his productivity. Inferior SE is a much better fit for him. Thank you for watching. Do you agree with our breakdown? If you enjoy our content and want to see more, please leave a comment and subscribe to our channel.